Like if you no, is someone speaking something?
No, nobody. So I think we can start now, right? We can
Yes, I
start
mean
now.
we can start. Yes.
Yeah. So somebody joining on the other link. Just a second, hold on. Uh, bro, Bachan, bro? I am sharing a link in the chat box here. He just joined that link. He left because he thought that he's alone. Okay, no worries. So let's start the session. Debajiti, are you here? Like you're going to present.
Yes.
You're going to present. Yeah, cool. You can present later. No worries. So
Like
let me give you a brief introduction about Git. Actually, what is Git and so let's take a situation that for example, like we what I am going to discuss is actually why we need Git and what is Git actually, and is what is Git and actually why we need it, right? So these all guys said it's a version control system, and so, since it's a version control system, so first of all you need to that what's actually a version control system. Like you don't know what is a virtual version control system. Like the new term seems weird. So okay, so let's start with basically what Git does for us. It's a version control system, and let's take a situation where you are working on a software, you are working on a project. Okay, let's take a situation where you are working on a project, and while working on a project, if it's on your it's only on your system only, so you can what you can do, you can make the changes to the project. Is like there's some distraction from someone's side. Okay, please unmute yourself.
oh, okay, sure, sure.
Yeah. So what I was saying that if when you are working on a project, so if it is in your system, so you can easily make the changes to the project and do whatever you want to with the project. Okay, and let's consider that like more than 5 or more than 10 people, a group of people are working on the same project. So do you think like it would be difficult to manage all the changes? Like how are you going to manage the changes on the same code on the same folder, like from different systems? Like so for that you need a centralized system where the changes of the changes that one person is making in the code, so the other can see the changes, right? And if somebody out of those persons who are working on the project, if someone only one of them makes the changes, the others can see the changes, right? So only then you can see the what actually the other person is doing. Then only you can collaborate, because like 10 is a huge number. Only if 2 or 3 people are working on the same project, so it will be difficult to maintain the code, right? So this was what I was trying to tell you when we consider about the collaboration. But only consider a case when only you are alone, you are working on a project. So let's consider that you have a project, and you made your first version of it. Okay, you made the first version of it and the code is complete, and you think, okay, let's deploy this project, this is done. So at a certain stage you decided, okay, this is done, this is the first version that I need to deploy. You deployed the product. Okay, then after deploying the first version, you thought that, okay, now I need to implement a new feature in this thing, right? So in that initial code, up to the first version, now what are you doing? You are just making changes to the code, making changes to the same code, right? And for another feature that you want to implement. Okay, so when you are trying to make the changes to the same code, you made the changes, you implemented the feature, and after implementing the feature you realize that there is some bug, or the feature is not like as you want. Like you want to change the code again. You don't want the feature now, or you don't want the feature like how it is implemented, right? You want the feature, you were expecting something else, and it's not up to the mark, right? So you want to change the code again. So now you want to change the code, but now as you have already changed the code that was with you up to the first version, you have already lost that code because you have added the new code in that. So how are you going to track the initial code that you have up to that first version? So for example, when you release the first version, you created a folder and took a backup of that code. Okay, for example, you created a folder and took a backup of that code up to that first version, and you are making changes in the separate file for the new feature. But this was only for one feature. Now consider when you talk about a project, there are multiple features, a number of features. So you can imagine how tough it will be going to track the code, track the history, like what was the code initially and what I have now, were the changes I made during this course of time when I was developing this feature. So the tracking of the code isn't that much easier when you talk about, if you keep taking the backup of every backup at every step. That isn't that much easier that it seems to be, right? You are getting what I'm trying to say. Someone please respond once, that what I'm trying to say, the management of the code that we had initially, and in the due course of time while we were developing the project, what I'm trying to say, are you getting the point?
Yes, भैया.
Yes,
Yes.
भैया.
Yeah. So
Yes,
it's
भैया.
difficult to track the code, right? Once you lost the code, you don't have any way to get back that, until unless you have a backup of that, right? So what is Git? Git, the term that we were using from last 10 minutes, the version control system, right? So it tracks the changes that you make to your files. For example, you have a folder, right? Let's consider the same folder that you were working on for the last two sessions, right? So in the last two sessions, for example, you have the code of the first session, you have the code of the second session. You added some code in the second session in the code of the first session, right? So now you want to go back to the code that you have at the end of the first session. Now there is no easy way to go back to. Can you go back to the same code that you have at the end of first session, until unless you took a backup of that? Do you have any way?
No, भैया.
No, you cannot get that back, right? Until unless you track the code at every step, that whatever the changes you made. So what this thing that the problem that I just explained you, this problem, Git solves this problem for us. It tracks the changes that we make to the files, right? So whenever you make some changes to the file, it takes a record of that, right? So we define the specific versions of our code, right? So we define specific versions of our code at each step, right? We can control, like when we want to capture our code, like where I was talking about the first version, I was talking about the second version. So it's just there is a word in Git, we use commit, right? You will get to know what is commit. So at certain step, we need, when we want to track our code, like for example at the end of the first session, so you commit your code, you committed your code in the first session, you committed your code at the end of second session. So whenever you want to go back to the code, what was the code at the end of the first session, you can just go back to that commit. So are you getting what commit do, right? It's kind of a point that where you are taking a snapshot of the record of your code, right? You got the point? Yeah, someone respond, please.
Yes, भैया.
Yes, भैया.
Yeah. So what we are trying to do by commit is just making a snapshot of that thing, right? At that point, right? You got what I'm trying to say. So that's what the version control thing means, right? That's what version control things mean, that you just keep a record of the code, right? So you can, so now what you can do, you can just revert back. Reverting thing, now you got the what is the technical term that is used for someone is joining there. Manas Jyoti Besh, you can join this link that I'm sharing in the chat box. There is another link for the meet. Okay, you can join that link. Yeah, Manas. So what I was saying, just a minute, I forgot. So okay, so what I said, that you can go back to the code of the end of the first session, right? So that end, that term technically is called reverting. Okay, so you are going to the code, what was the code at the end of the first session, so that thing we call the reverting to the specific version, right? So that term is defined technically as revert. So we are reverting back to that action, right? So this was the practical example of how things goes when you work alone on a project. Now the initial example that I told you, that when you are working in a collaboration, you are collaborating with someone. So you are making changes to your system, the changes are saved in your system, but how the other person is going to see those changes, like for example, if someone, like let me pick up a random name, the first one, the Adapa Neha. So she is making, are you a boy or girl? Like, I'm assuming that you are a girl. Okay. So, yeah, cool. So, for example, she's making some changes to her code. She's collaborating with Anjani. So now, is there any way that Anjani can see what were the changes that Adapa Neha made in her code? Is there any way? Like, there's no way until unless she sends her file she sends her file personally to her, right? There's no way until unless she sends a file personally. So basically on Git, what we do is the folder that you created, what is the term that we give it? We use the term repository for it, right? So you can consider your folder as a repository. So in Git, basically what we will do, we will create a remote repository. So what does remote repository means here? So remote repository, you can just for now consider that it's a repository, it's stored somewhere else in someone else's computer, okay, someone else, where like all the anyone else can access that, right? Like Neha can also access that, and Anjani can also access that, right? So she made some changes. She uploaded all the changes to that remote repository, right? The local system is different, the remote repository is different. Are you getting the point? Are you getting the difference between the local and the remote thing? Like,
Yes, we
this
are.
is not confusing it, right? Like just stop me
Basically, the
wherever you
local
want to, okay?
repository. Basically, the local repository is the folder within your on your own local system. That is the system we are using, and the remote repository is the same copy of that folder in a cloud, in a cloud-based environment. Okay,
Right.
on some
So
other else system where the entire code is stored.
so that's the difference between local and the remote repository. So for example, Anjani cannot access Neha's personal folder in his system, that is in local, it is in her local system, but she can also access the remote repository. Like, so Neha what Neha did, Neha just made some changes to the code and uploaded those changes to the remote repository, right? Also she had all the changes in the local system, and now she uploaded all the changes to the remote repository. Like for the uploading thing in Git, we use the word push. Okay, you will get those command line terms. Don't worry about those. Just I'm giving just how the things go. So basically, to upload thing to Git, what is the term that we use? We use push. Okay, so once Neha pushes her code to the remote repository, now what Anjani can do, Anjani can simply take for now I would use download. Anjali can simply download all the contents of that repository. Okay, Anjali can simply download the contents of that repository, and all those changes in that repository will will be fetched to the repository of Anjani's local system. Like, are you getting the point? If it gets confusing, please stop me. Okay.
Yes, we
If it
are.
gets, yeah. So simply what Neha did, Neha uploaded the things and Anjani downloaded the things, right? So that remote repository is like acting as a what do you say, as a source that that is helping you to collaborate. Like the changes that Neha made, the changes that Anjani made, all the changes has merged now, right? So that's how it helps in the collaboration thing. Ujjwal, what were you saying? Like, you can continue.
I was just saying that the remote repository is basically repositories on some cloud-based service. It's basically a source. It's a centralized system where you store all the data about all the repositories. Basically, all about the repositories of all the users within the entire globe who are using a particular service. And when you say about GitHub, so GitHub is a platform. Is someone's mic on?
I think mine.
Okay. So when you talk about GitHub is a platform that provides you that service. Okay, it's a cloud-based service that provides you a platform where you can upload your code, fetch code from someone else's repository. You can do team collaboration. You can work on a particular project. You can work on open source. So since in the doubt session, someone was asking me about open source. So GitHub is the key to open source. Git is the key to open source because every open source project needs collaboration, right? And we cannot sit in a particular room and do the collaboration, or we can use file transfer systems to collaborate. We need certain kind of cloud-based service where you can directly download and upload the code. So this is the main underlying idea about Git and GitHub. The main purpose is to have a system where you can do team collaborate on a project sitting at different places of the entirely different locations in a world. So this is the main purpose of Git and GitHub. Well, you will get to know about some of the details or some of the differences between Git and GitHub in the upcoming slides, which will be presented by Devo. Jyoti. Sami, do you have anything else to say?
No. I think now you guys have an idea about what is Git. Like now you guys have an idea. Like if somebody is still confused, like he can still ask me once. Like I just want to give you an idea like what Git actually is. And now if you guys really got the point that what I was trying to say, so now you guys know that how much importance of the how much is the importance of the Git when you will go into any company. Like eventually you are going to work on a project, and eventually you need Git, right? You need a technology that allows you to collaborate eventually, so
Yes,
that's something you
you
cannot ignore. You
you
need to
can just
learn. Not
imagine. You can
Yeah.
just imagine how had we done the collaboration, or how could have we developed different softwares within this lockdown had we not met each other. We did not meet any of us did not meet each other for the past 8 or 9 months. So how does this companies run, or how does this codes are collaborated? How are new applications developed? So this is the key to it. They have been using certain platforms, be it GitHub. They're using platforms like GitHub, be it any other platforms like GitLab, Bitbucket, or any other platform. But they're using certain cloud-based platforms that provides version controlling. So without knowing a version control software, it becomes very difficult for us to collaborate on team projects. Okay, so that's the main underlying idea about in version control. I guess we should
Yeah,
start
I
with the
think I think we should
yes.
start with the PPT. Debu, you can you can start with the presentation.
Meanwhile, if
Even
anyone has any doubts or any queries, then we can ask. So basically, Bhaiya, basically it helps to share the project. Yes, basically it does help to share your project, or does help to share your code. I'll say the source code that you are writing. The way the Git manages its code is quite very different, and I won't go into the underlying the functionality, or how the data is being stored. It basically whenever you make a change, that a copy of it is stored in your local system, and that copy is then being uploaded into the in the cloud database. Okay, so that's an entirely different thing of how the data is stored. We just need to focus on the thing that that Git is used for version control and cloud team collaboration.
exactly. So the sharing the project is not the only thing. It's much more powerful than that, right? This is one of the features of Git. You can say that, right? So the like initially I told you the version. How are you going to manage your version? The tracking, the history of the code, all the things. Like it has multiple features. This is one of them. Cool.
Yes, Debojyoti, you can all the stage is all yours now.
Okay, thank you, Samir Bhaiya and Ujjwal Bhaiya. Like now, I would like to continue by speaking a few lines about and summarizing the whole thing. Like so, starting with the front page. Is
Yeah,
it
one more
visible?
thing, like it's not visible yet, Debojyoti. One
Okay.
more thing is that like we are going to introduce you to the command line today. If you guys don't know about that, how the interface works, how it actually works. So we are going to go through the whole installation process, how to install Git, and how to work with this using command line. So we are going to have we are going to cover all the things in this session. So just
Uh,
stay till end, so
since
you guys can
yes,
like at least learn how to use the command line, because not today, then you need to learn it tomorrow, but it's something that you cannot ignore. This is, as I already said. Cool,
since
continue.
most of you might not have knowledge about command line or how to manage command line interfaces, so I suggest that if you are stuck somewhere, then please ask some of the coordinators. Stop the one who is explaining, and then just ask your doubts there then and there. Because if you don't ask your doubts there, then it will pile up, and again you won't understand anything. It will be like a waste of your time as a time if you don't ask at the current moment itself. So do
Yeah,
ask your doubts
exactly.
at the current moment, and then
Because you might get
things
stuck
will be
somewhere,
very easy.
because you are some of you are going to use command line for the first time, so you might get stuck somewhere. So ask to stop there, right? So you can just continue with the session. Otherwise, you will get stuck there. Your screen is not visible, Devajit. Still, your screen is not visible.
Uh,
Do you want me to present? Let me present.
wait,
Just
wait.
let me present.
I can.
Yeah, try.
Yes, is my screen visible now?
Yeah, it's visible. Continue.
It was
Okay. Okay, like, so here we are, the start of the presentation. And myself, Debojyoti Das, I'm going to tell you a bit about Git and GitHub, and like summarizing the whole thing in a few minutes or so. So as Samir Bhaiya already mentioned about version control, like summarizing the whole thing in one line, we can say like version control refers to a system that records changes to a file or a set of files over time called versions. Like this version control is of three types. There are three types of version control, like the local one, the local version controls, the centralized version controls, and the distributed version control. So what exactly they are? So starting with the local version control, here files are like stored in the local computer, and multiple people, as it is one of the drawback. Like here, multiple people can't work on the same project parallelly. So the next up is the centralized version control. Here, like a central repository is maintained where all the versions are kept, and a user can check out and check in files from the different computers at any time. So like it's better than this local version control for sure. And the one which is used the most is the distributed version control. Like the distributed version control, here files are like stored in every user's local system and at remote servers as well. So this is all about version control I wanted to say. And like the issues that coders or developers face when this software development without this version control are like once saved, all the changes made in the files are permanent and cannot revert back. So this is one of the drawback. And the other drawback is like there is no record of what was done and by whom. So these two were the drawbacks. So overcome this, version controls are used. And up next is I want to say a bit about Git and GitHub. So starting with what is Git? Git is a distributed version control software which you need to install on your local system in order to use it. Uh, for an individual collaborating on a project alone, Git proves to be an excellent software. And like this Git is like very much popular, and it is obviously the winner among all. Like there are a few advantages of using Git. Like we can have snapshots of the code, as Samir Bhaiya already mentioned. The code is distributed. There is fast operations. There are branch handling options. The thing Git is robust. And up next is I want to tell a bit about like GitHub. GitHub is a web-based Git version control a repository hosting service. It provides all the distributed version control and source code management functionalities of Git. GitHub is an incredibly effective way to collaborate on development projects. As Samir Bhaiya already mentioned about the project and the issues faced when without using this Git and GitHub. So this proved to be an excellent software, and providing a place for anyone with internet connection to have an avenue where they can share their code with the world for free. So, and then up next, GitHub has been adopted by many large open source projects as their primary home for collaboration and contribution. And let me start with now you might be confused a bit about like exactly is the difference between Git and GitHub. So I want to like say a bit about it. Git is actually a software, and GitHub is the service that it provides, and then Git is installed on the local system, and GitHub is like hosted on the web. then Git, it is a tool to manage different versions of edits made to files in a Git repository. And for GitHub, in case of GitHub, it is like a space to upload a copy of the Git repository. And then for Git, like it is a command line tool, and for GitHub, it is like a graphical interface. It provides a graphical interface. So that's the difference. Now up next, I want to say a bit about GitHub workflow. So the general workflow for GitHub support is fairly simple. Means once you start using it, like you will be used to it, and like once you practice enough, then it will be easy for you to collaborate. Then starting with it, like we start by forking the target repo to our own account. Forking means like it creates a copy. Like consider two developers. Here, developer A has the project, and you want to make changes to it. Then the developer B will like fork the repo to his own repository. Like forking means creating a copy or something. Then that fork repo is like cloned on your local machine, and you can make branches and like make the necessary changes, and then commit and push to your local system, and or then send a merge request. And if the developer A accepts your request, then this code will be merged. And up next is alternative.
Did you get the point what he was trying to say in the last slide, guys?
Yes.
Did you get the point?
Like
if he's too fast, you can just ask him to like, Dimitri, please proceed a bit slower, okay?
Okay, sure, bhaiya.
Let them grasp the things, right?
Okay. You will be used to this workflow once you start coding a bit. Like everybody understood the fork part, no? And then the cloning part, and the changes you made, then commit part, then the pull request part. It's quite simple only. Anybody have some questions or something?
Bhaiya, can you explain once more?
Okay, sure, I can explain. Like the workflow or something else. Like individually, what is fork or what is clone?
Individual, the whole process.
Okay, sure. Okay, suppose you consider myself as the developer. Okay, I have the project. I have the whole code with me in my repository, and you want to make changes to it. Okay, then what you will do is you will go to my repository, then you will fork the code in your own repository. What this will do is it will create a copy in your own repo. Then you can clone to your own system, a local system. Then like you can make the necessary changes. Then you can commit, and you can create a pull request. And if I get satisfied with what you have done, then I can merge the code, or else I can cancel your pull request also. Like, now is it clear or something
Yes,
else?
Yes, it is clear.
Yeah, what is pull request? Can you please explain once?
After committing the thing, the changes that you made, like pull request will simply create a request of changing files in my own repo, in the main repo that I have.
Got it, yeah. Okay, yeah.
And if I accept, it will be merged. Okay. Anyone more?
Guys, do one thing. Meanwhile, he is presenting the presentation. Do one thing. Just go to this link I am sharing in the chat box and download this software once. Okay, you need to download Git on your system. It's around 30 or 40 MB. So meanwhile, you can download this thing. Okay, I am just sharing the link in the chat box. Download this for your system. Meanwhile, he's explaining the concepts. Yeah, continue.
Okay. Any more doubts? Like, I will go to the last side maybe. Next one is the last one.
Yeah, continue. Debuji, continue.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay, so you might be thinking, what are the alternatives to GitHub? So GitLab is one such. That, like, what happens is GitHub has a higher availability and is more focused on infrastructure performance, whereas GitLab is more focused on offering a feature-based system. And the other one is Bitbucket. Like GitHub, what GitHub supports is a huge number of open source community, whereas for business and enterprise purposes, Bitbucket can be used. So these were the alternatives. Now Aditya will continue with the installation part.
Thank you, Devojyoti. Am I audible?
Wait. Yes, you are audible, Aditya.
Okay. So let me present first. Is my screen visible?
Yes, your screen is visible, Aditya.
Okay.
Someone is asking for the link in the what? Can you provide this link in the group? I will get my laptop in week 2. Cool. Yeah, Umakaya, we will do that. Let's continue with the installation process.
Okay. So many of you might have downloaded the Git software, but those who haven't, I will show you how to download it. We will proceed to the link Sameer Bhaiya has shared in the chat box. I will copy this link and paste it here. If you do not have the link, go to Google and search for Git download. So the first link will appear as Git SCM downloads. Here you will see the 3 operating systems. Mine is Windows, so I will download the Windows one. Click on Windows. The downloading will start. But as I have already downloaded it, I will not download it again. I am giving you 1-2 minutes to download it. It is just 40 MB. So after you have downloaded it, proceed to the downloads folder and double click the Git installer.
Those who are on Linux can directly write this command for installing Git in Linux. Like they can write this command if you're on Linux. Debian based systems. This is for Debian based systems. Cool.
Okay, so have everybody downloaded the installer?
Yeah, it will work on Ubuntu. Ubuntu is Debian based system. It will work.
Have everybody downloaded installer?
Yes, Bhaiya.
Okay.
Yes, Bhaiya.
After double clicking the installer, this window will appear. I will accept the terms and conditions. Let the location be default. Next and click next. Okay, so I was using the Git software previously. So it is asking for making the folder. I will click it yes. Leave it as default and click next. Next. Okay, so Git uses Vim editor. I will leave it on default. We can change the editor from here, but Vim is perfectly fine for everybody. So we'll click next.
Yes, we have Visual Studio Code, so can we choose that from there?
What happened? What?
We have the Visual Studio Code now for the editor part.
No. Vim uses different type of editor. Sorry, Git uses different type of editor. These editors are for command. Basically, we write commands here, and those editors are for writing the codes, that development codes.
Actually, he is talking about the terminal of the different terminal available in the VSC. Yeah, you can use that VSC terminal, but still install Bash. Still install Bash. Sometimes, I have experience when I was using VS Code on Windows. Sometimes it gets stuck, but Bash works fine. Still better than VS terminal.
So use Vim here and click next, and uh, you will see the branch terminologies afterwards. But for now, you can rely and click on let Git decide for the branch names. The actually what happens, the main branch is known as master, but now after some conflicts, the Git have changed its terminologies to main. But we will be using master branch here, and click next, click next, click next, next. Basically, what we have to do is just click next, 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 and nothing else. And the extraction file process will start.
If you get stuck, please ask, because you cannot you will not able to do something if you will not install this, right? So if you get stuck, please ask.
Yes, and in this session we will be doing hands-on practice, so installation of part is very important. So now Git have already installed, and I will uncheck this checkbox as I do not want to see the release notes, and click finish. So Git is installed. You can check that Git is installed by opening the command prompt. You can open the command prompt from typing command prompt, and command prompt will open. Here you can write git --version. So here you can see that it is showing git version 2.30.0, Windows 2.2. Okay, so git is installed and it have been added to my path variables. So if after installing git, you see that after installing git and writing this command, if you see that git is not recognized by Windows or something like that, you have to first add it to path variables. For adding it to path variables, we have to search for env. Here the edit and system environmental variables tab will open. You have to click it and open it. Click
Let
on
me know one thing, right? You guys are with this, right? You guys not lagging behind, right?
Yes, Bhaiya.
Yeah.
Yes, Bhaiya.
Yes,
Just
bhaiya.
make sure that the Git is installed or not, just by typing git ---- version. Yeah. Just make sure.
And after installing Git,
Proceed.
okay, if it shows that Git is not recognized by system, then follow the procedure I am showing you. So for that, you have to write here environmental variables. You will write env and it will show. So after writing env, and system properties will open up. Click on environmental variables here. After that, in system variables, under the system variables, you will see path. Double click on that. Okay, so here the C program files git command folder is already added to my path variables, environmental variables. So it was accepting the git commands. But if after installing command prompt is not, if in your system after installing the command prompt is not recognizing git commands, then what you can do is you can just add new path. For new, you can open up the Explorer. From here, proceed to C drive, proceed to program files, search for git here, and double click the command folder here. And on the top bar, right click and copy address. Copy this address and move to the tab where you were adding the path variables. Hit on the tab new and Control V. Paste this path here. As this path was already added to my environmental variables, I will cancel this. Otherwise, you have to click OK. After this, you just have to reopen this command prompt.
Bhaiya,
Yes, tell.
भैया गिट के फोल्डर में जाकर CMD में जाना पड़ेगा ना?
हाँ हाँ, गिट फोल्डर के बाद CMD, C drive, after that program files, git, and then CMD. और ये जब भी करना है जब विंडो कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट गिट रिकॉग्नाइज ना करे। अगर वो कर रहा है तो फिर कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। Okay, so after this type git minus version. So what Git offers is Git offers various softwares such as Git Bash and
Aditya, you are not audible. Is it only for me or anyone can't hear him?
So we also can't hear.
I was also not able to hear.
Yeah. Cool. Aditya, just repeat the procedure once. That if the path variable doesn't recognize that one, so just repeat the procedure once. Oh, no worries. Somebody else on Windows. So what you do, Isha, do one thing. Go to that file. Go to. I am on Linux actually, so I can't show you. You just do one thing. Go to my computer. Go to local drive C. Done.
If you could show once on Linux.
भैया shall I show?
He can see, but he can show, but his system got crashed actually. So Vinayak, you can present. Yeah, you can. If you have done, you can present once. No
Yes,
worries.
भैया.
Actually, I am on Linux, so I can't present. That's the problem.
Bhaiya, can you present on Linux once?
Linux, there's nothing like that, like path variables on Linux. It just gets installed. It gets installed by only single command, just that I sent. Gets
भैया
installed
इस
by
बार screen
single command.
visible?
Yeah, it's visible. Just
Return to an error code.
sorry for
on
the
Linux.
interruption, guys.
Yeah, Aditya.
the terminal.
Okay, Vinayak, leave it. Aditya will present if he's back. Yeah, I will show you on Linux separately. I will show you on Linux. Cool. But actually, what's the problem now? It's already installed in my system. I need to uninstall it first. So
Actually,
you
my
can.
system crashed.
Problem here because
What happened? What is the problem actually?
it's
भैया नहीं हो
showing that returned an error code. Errors are encountered while processing.
You use the command sudo apt install git -all, right?
It was installing.
Yeah.
It downloaded all the files and then it returned with this, that ESUB user bin returned with an error code.
Need to say like I don't remember errors, but need to see actually what's the exact error. Just do one thing. Type the same error on Google and see what's the solution. Type the same error on Google. You are on Linux, so you should be like used to that thing. Aditya, is the system working now?
Yes, Priya. Yes, it is working.
Yeah, so just repeat the procedure once, that going to the C git and program files C, and then copying the path.
Okay.
Just
Okay, Priya. Okay, sure. Open the environmental variables setting here. For opening that, you need to type environmental variables here. env. Okay, so after typing environmental variables, edit system environmental variables control panel will open. Open it. Click on environmental variables. Here under the system variables, you will see path option. There is a path option under user variables for ASUS. Don't click that. Click on system variables and see path option. Double click that. Okay, so here click on browse. You can also click new and you can also click browse. Previously I showed by clicking new. Now I will show you by clicking browse. Click on browse. Here in this PC, search for C drive. Click on C drive. Click on program files, and in program files click on git. In git you have to search for the command folder CMD. Double click this folder and click on OK. As this folder was already added, So you have to click OK, but as in my environmental variables, it was already added, so I will click cancel, 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 and cancel. You have to click OK, OK, OK. So for checking that Git have been added to environmental variables, you can simply proceed to command prompt and write git minus minus version and click enter. If it is showing some version, then it has been successfully added to the path variables. But if it is showing Git is not recognized by your system or something like that, then you have to follow the procedure again. So in my system, it is showing the version, so it has been added successfully. Is everybody following, or is there any doubt?
I think Linux users are lagging here just a little bit. So, how many of you have installed installed Git? Like, just tell me how many of you haven't installed. Just tell me this thing. You have installed, fine, but how many of you haven't installed? Just tell me this thing. Like either too many, or like if there are one or two, like we can sort it out in the comment box.
How many of you are using Linux right now?
Like 2 or 3, I think.
So just go to a terminal and just write a
Yeah.
simple command sudo app install git, and that's it.
वही सेम कमांड लिखा, बट सम किसी का सिस्टम एरर थ्रो कर रहा है, वो पता नहीं किसके सिस्टम में सिस्टम एरर थ्रो कर
It
रहा
will ask for a password. It will ask for your sudo administrator password, and once you click on once you enter the password, the download will start.
ओ भैया
Linux-
भैया
वो
वो सब कर
system
लिया,
app-
मतलब
सिस्टम
लास्ट
ऐप
में
गेट
check
अपडेट
किया।
करना पड़ेगा ना पहले, उनका
मतलब
ऐप इंस्टॉलर अपडेटेड नहीं होगा. फर्स्ट आई एम राइटिंग अ कमांड देयर.
sudo apt-get install sudo apt-get upgrade, वो वाला.
हाँ
sudo apt-get upgrade and then update. हाँ, वो करके देख लो यार. Like try that command also. sudo apt-get
Try this
upgrade
command.
and after that, like write this one, sudo apt-get install git and -y to like for all the proceed yes to all the flags. Proceed flag, yes, flag. Yeah, try this for the Linux users. Like all the Linux users are not able to install, or only one guy is not able to install.
Okay, wait Aisha, I
At
am
least
telling you. I am giving you the path in the chat box. You can just copy paste that path. Wait a second.
The Linux users, if you can just send you the screenshot of your command line error in the group, and we can see that error and just tell you what to do.
Aditya, you proceeding with repository, or Pranjal is going to do that?
No, I am going to do. First, I have to set up the
Yeah.
global username and all.
Okay,
so
please repeat after the
Aditya,
edit environment.
once again, please repeat the steps for the adding the environment variable. A lot of people are having issue with that.
okay, yeah, okay. So open environmental variable settings here. Type env and click on edit the system environmental variables. After this, click on environmental variables in the bottom right corner. Under the system variables tab, click on path. Double click on path. Here, click on new. And I have just given a path in the chat box. You can just copy paste that path. Paste this path here and click OK. Click OK. OK. For checking that it has been added, click on command prompt. You can search command prompt from here. Command prompt and type git minus version. If it is showing some version here, then git has been successfully added into your path variables. Is it okay, BM? Is it okay, everyone? Or shall I show it again? Okay, so I shall proceed with the global settings. So what Git offers is Git offers many programs such as Git GUI and Git Bash. For that, search for Git here. Wait a second. Git. So here you can see Git GUI and Git Bash. Git GUI is the graphical user interface where we can from where we can create and edit or modify our repos, but we will not be using Git GUI. We will be using Git Bash instead of Git GUI. As a developer, you must be familiar with the Bash and command prompt. So open this Bash, search for Git Bash, and click on it. It will open Git Bash. Okay, so from here,
Sir, Git Bash.
Git Bash, Git Bash. Here type git config -- global and user dot name. So what Git does is Git appends some information such as your username and email after every commit. So every commit you make contains your username and email. So for that, we first have to set our username and email using this command. Type git config -- global and
Guys, do you have a Git
and-
account? Do you have a Git account? Do you have a Git account already?
I have a
Yes,
GitHub
I-
account. Means I've logged into GitHub.
GitHub account we have here.
Yeah, like
Okay, no
GitHub
problem.
account exactly. Like all of them do not have a Git account, no? They need a Git account.
So if you want to check that you already have made a Git account previously or not, you just have to type git config -- global user.name and hit enter. If it is showing
Yeah,
some
and by
name,
Git we mean here GitHub. Okay, so by big Git we mean here GitHub. Okay, so just relate that thing.
Bhaiya,
If,
it is not showing name.
okay, so we will have to set it up. You can type.
Aditya, zoom your screen.
Okay,
Git
wait,
screen.
okay, wait a second. Is it visible now?
Okay, okay.
Okay. So git config -- global user dot name and type your name here. And hit enter. So if it is not showing anything, that means that username has been successfully added. You can check it again by writing this. For copying a previous command, you can hit the up arrow and hit enter. So it is showing the account, my name. For setting up the user email, you can type the same command with a little changes. Type git config -- global user dot email and write your email here without apostrophes. That is my email and hit enter. You can also check this by writing git config -- global user dot email without giving your email address. If it is showing your email address, then it has been added successfully. So is everybody following me or any doubts? Okay, so I will proceed with the GitHub account now. So that
Bhaiya,
that
hello?
was it. Oh, yes, yes.
Could you just show me that code again?
Wait a second. I am pasting it
Okay.
in the
Yes,
comment section.
that would be okay.
And the Pranjal, you don't need apostrophes in the email. Email goes without apostrophes.
Okay, okay.
And also that G is small. Okay, G is not capital. Just when
G
we
is
will just
small.
directly copy paste it, G will be capital. G is small.
So I will proceed with the GitHub account now. So for GitHub account, open github.com. Click on sign up. Type your username here. Username can be any username. You just have to make it for yourself. I am using test. For email address, I am using a temporary email address. You have to use the same email address that you gave for the GitHub configuration, Git configuration. I am using a temporary email as I do not have to work with this account. But you should give your same email address that you gave in the Git global settings. Type your email address here. You can make any password. So you have to verify that you are not a robot. After this, create account. Okay, wait a second. Not a problem. Okay, so GitHub account have been made. So don't consider this. This will not be in your GitHub accounts as I am using a temporary email address. This is being shown. After this, if you want to make an online repo, a cloud-based repo, click on this. Am I audible?
Yeah, Aditya, you can do one thing. You can proceed with your account now. No, you can proceed with your account if you want to proceed.
Okay.
Because you have configured your system for that email, no, your original account, no.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
that,
so you can proceed
Pranjal
with
will be
your.
showing, I guess, how to
Cool, no
play
worries.
with Git commands.
No worries. Okay. Continue.
I am just showing how to make a repo on GitHub.
Fine.
On this plus sign, click on new repository. Oh wait, we have to first do the email verification here. For that, open your Gmail and and verify your email address. Address has been verified. Now I can make and proceed and make new repositories. For new repositories, click on plus and click new repository. You can name your repository anything. It will be unique for your account. So you don't have to care for if there is another name, like for instance, I name my repository test, and if it is available on other person's account, then this will be unique. So you do not have to make unique names. You can also copy some name if you like. I will add a README file here and click create repository.
Bhaiya, can you please be a bit?
Okay. Sure. Do you want me to show how to create repository again?
Yes, Bhaiya.
Okay. So click on new repository here. Write any name you like. I will write test1. So repository you can write description. It is optional. I am not writing it here. Repositories can be public or private. Public means that anybody on the internet can search for repositories and contribute to your repositories. But private repositories can be seen only by you. Previously, this private repository feature was in a paid version of GitHub, but now it is available for freely for everyone. Okay, so there are 3 types of file basically: readme file, .git ignore file, and license. License is we will be not using licenses here. What is a readme file is? It tells you about the repository, what is the project about, how to run it on your local system, and what to do with the project. That is all contained in the readme file. What git ignore file contains is, it contains your secret passwords, your API keys, your node modules. As node modules are of bigger size, larger size, these are contained in your .git ignore file. You will be learning for .git ignore file in the upcoming session, in today's session, in fact. So we will initialize our repository with a readme file. These all files are optional. I will click create repository. So repository has been created. You can fork and do everything from here. You can clone the repository via HTTPS, via SSH, and you can fork these, fork, star, and unwatch. Everything can be done from this console. How to proceed and what to do in this will be told you by Pranjal. Pranjal, you can proceed.
Thank you, Aditya, for your wonderful explanation. So today, myself Pranjal Das, and I will
One
discuss
second, Pranjal, one
and
second.
show.
Have you guys understood what Aditya has taught you guys? Like, do you guys have any doubt regarding any of the topic that which he has taught? Anyone? Okay, Pranjal, you can proceed. You can proceed.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, Bhaiya.
Yes, Bhaiya.
Okay. So myself Pranjal Das, and today I will discuss and show you a live demonstration of how to push a local repository to GitHub repository. Before we dive into further discussion, here let me attempt to briefly provide an overview of what my friend discussed. So as they said that Git is a version control system where each user has a local copy of complete history of the project, which is known as repository, and user can synchronize repository easily. So now I will go to my Git bash. And I will show that I will write git dash dash version, that whether my git is successfully installed or not. Git dash dash version, and you can see that here it is showing 2.20.0. That means it is successfully installed. Now the next step is that I will write git help dash dash. So git actually git help is a very important command. So it will show each and every command of git bash. So I can hit enter. Then you can see that it is showing each and every command, like clone, init, add file, add. Then there are defined commands which you can see. Now I will write clear. Now I am clearing whole page. Now you can see my whole writing is removed. So my next tip is that I have now I have a heading like web builds. So I will upload it on GitHub. So how can I upload this on GitHub? So in Git Bash, like I will write cd, and you have to first select that where is your file is saved. So I have saved my file in local disk F. So I will write cdf double dot. Then you can see that I have entered into my F folder. Now I have another folder named web builds where I have a heading named web builds. So I will upload this. So how can I enter into web builds? So again I will write cd means change directory. So I will write cd web w, and if you write tab, I have to again check web builds.
This will not work. Actually, there is a space in the name, na? Just wrap up that thing in the quotes. Then it will work. There is a space in the name. That's why it's not working.
Emulating web builds, web.
Bro, it's not working because there is a space in the name. That's why it's not working.
Space in the name.
Yeah. It's not working.
WEB space BLITZ.
Yeah, that's why it's not working. There's a space, no?
Okay. I'm removing.
It is treating blades as a third argument. That's why it's not working.
Okay. I'm removing space.
Yeah. If you want to have a space in your directory name, then you need to like wrap up that thing in the code, or you can use backslashes to handle the spaces.
So you can see that I have written web builds. So I will hit enter. Then you can see that I have entered into my web builds folder. So my next step is that I have successfully entered into my web builds folder. Now I will check git status. So you can see that not a git repository. So git status actually shows whether we have initialized git or not. So to initialize git, we have to write git init. So first you have to write git status, then it will show that whether it is a git repository or not. So I will write git init, git so now I'll write git. So you can see that I have when I have written git status, then it's shown that not a git repository. But after writing git init, then it is showing me that we have an index.html. Now we can see that going inside of web builds, it is showing a git folder. So when we write git init, so it will create a git folder. So my next step is that I have added a page index.html. So I will add it on git account. So I will write git. So I will write git add. So git add commands add a change in the working directory to the staging area. It tells git that what is staging area. So you can see the working directory and staging area. So what is staging area? It tells git that we want to include update to a particular file in the next commit. Means we want to and I have uploaded some page and we want to update in our next commit. So that is known as staging area. And what is working directory? Working directory is the local system where you can make changes. So what is local system? You can see that this is our local system, and we are updating a new page, and we are including new pages and new things. So this is our local system. So local system. Then again I will write git status. So now you can see that it is showing a green signal. That means our index.html file is successfully uploaded to our git section. Means here it is successfully installed. Then I will write. Then I will go to GitHub. Is my screen visible?
Your voice is breaking actually, Ranjan.
What bhaiya?
Your voice is breaking. Are you guys with this? Like how much he has told? Are you guys with this? Hello.
Yeah, after I typed git init, it is coming as initialized empty git repository in C.
Exactly. That's
Yes,
what was the idea behind that git init. Yeah, Joel, continue. Yeah.
Git init basically creates a hidden folder inside your system, which basically keeps a track of the entire repository. All the things that we have been talking since the starting of this session, that it keeps track of, does version controlling in your local system, keeps track of who has committed what part, is basically done inside that folder itself. The Git manages that folder on its own. So that folder, we do not have to worry about that folder. That's a hidden folder in which the Git itself tracks everything.
So
It's
this
a
is
kind of something, a pointer attached to every snapshot of the work that is being committed. Like every change that you make, there is a pointer attached to that, and then you can revert back from that pointer.
so initially I don't have any git folder, but after writing git init, it has shown me that git account. So it is a hidden folder. So where all work will be uploaded here, and it will not be visualized to other users. So next step is my creating a git repository. So I will go to GitHub, and you can see that here is a new repository, or you can simply click to here new one. So new one. So I will write a repository name. So my repository is web builds, and I will write .io. Then I will take. You have to select whether you have to select public or private.
Yeah.
Public means you are sharing. Hello. Yes.
Yeah, can you again show the code to add the index.html?
Okay. So after successfully adding my web builds, so then I have added an index.html. So how can I upload this index.html? First I will write git add space add. Then it will successfully add your all files and images or JavaScript and everything. It will add to the git section. So you have to simply write git add space dot. So I am writing in your
Yeah, can we add
in
a
your comment.
specific file?
What?
But can we add a specific file?
Yes, you can add a specific file, but by writing git add, then git add, then index.html, then it will specifically add index.html. Then have you understood?
Yes, bhaiya.
Okay, and I am writing git add space.
One thing that I would like to ask, you got the point that why we are adding the files, right? Why we are using the git add command. You got the point, right? You got the point, you guys. The staging area and the local space that where the file was stored. Then after using the git add command, so we are basically what git add command does, which in the third argument, if we use dot, it adds all the files which are untracked or in the unstaged area, or pass the if you pass the address location of the file. Basically what we are trying to do now, if you want to add a single file, you just pass the location of that file. So if you, it's, for example, open the terminal once. Pranjal, open the terminal once. Open the terminal.
Yes.
Yeah, so for example, right now you are in the webblitz folder, so directly you can write git add index.html. For example, if you want to
Yes.
go into other folders, so you know how to do that, right? Dot slash, so you can get the previous
Yes. Yes.
directory. Yeah, so
CD. Then you have to simply write CD, then dot dot. Then it will go back to your initial state. So you have
so
to simply write CD space dot dot.
and if you want to add a file from here without writing cd, so you can simply write the path of the file. For example, if just like git add and dot slash and the path to the file, basically you're writing the path for the file which you want to write. Cool. Okay, continue, Pranjal. Continue. So this was the git add command,
As
right?
as I have said that git command, so I am again discussing git add command. So git add commands add a change in the working directory to the staging directory. So what is staging area? It tells git that we want to include update to a particular file in the next commit. And what is working directory? Working directory is the directory on which we are making changes. Means this is our working directory. So working, it is working directory. And now if I write git status, then it will show whether I have added all files or not. So when I write git status, so it will show me that I have successfully added the file index.html. So now I'll go back to my GitHub account. So now after clicking the button new repository, then I have gone through this page. So I will write webbuilds.io repository name. Then I will add public. So I have to add public, or you can add to private also if you want to. Then add a readme file.md. Readme.md is a set of useful information about a project and a kind of manual. So we'll write readme.md, then click to the button create repository. Now I will upload all my work here. So how can I upload? Then again go to git bash, and I will write git what
Bhaiya,
what
Bhaiya, while adding index.html, we have to turn on the internet, or we can do it offline.
No, you can do it offline, but if you want to upload in your GitHub account, then you have to be online. Otherwise, Git is an offline version. So you can add all things and everything in offline mode. But if you want to upload in your GitHub account, then you have to be online.
Sanket, as I mentioned initially, like the two terms, local repository and the remote repository, right? You remember I mentioned two terms. One was local repository and the other was remote repository. So when you execute the command git add dot, so what it does, it makes the changes, it saves the changes in your local system. Like you need to make the commit, use the commit command, but like if you don't know the commit command, so what it does, it makes the system to your local change. It makes the changes to your local system, to your local repository, right? So to make the system in your remote repository, that's what the GitHub on the cloud. So for that you need to push the changes, right? There's a push command, so you need to push those changes. So the changes are also like the two repositories, the remote repository and the local repository becomes parallel, right? So that's what the difference between local and the remote repository.
So so my next step is that git remote. So what is git remote? Git remote will show that you are connected online or not. Online means you are connected to GitHub or not. then it will connect your local system to GitHub. If we write git remote, if we write git remote, then it is showing that then it is showing no link. So you have to connect your local repository to remote repository. Remote repository means your GitHub account. So here it is GitHub account. So I can first I have to copy my link. So you can copy your links in code section, where you can see that HTTPS GitHub. So you have to simply copy your path, then go to git bash and write git remote add origin and then link. Simply you have to write git remote add origin then your link. Now that means we have successfully linked our git local repository to remote repository. Now if I write git remote, then you can see that now it is showing my link. So this is git remote version, so -v, then it is showing that origin, and this you can see that link. You can see this link. Now my next step is that git commit. So what is git commit? Git commit command is used to save your changes to the local repository. Whatever we write in single inverted comma, it can be visualized in our GitHub as a heading. So if we write git commit -m, and in single inverted comma, I have if I write anything that web builds completed. So if I write git commit -m and in single inverted comma, I have written something like web builds completed. Now click enter. Now you can see that it is showing that 9 insertion, and in 9 insertion and one file and one page is inserted, that is index.html. So what is 9 insertion? 9 insertion, you can see that in my page I have simply written just web builds and heading, and here you can see that in 9 lines. You can see that 9 lines. So it is showing that one file change and 9 insertion, and one file and one page is included, that is index.html. So my next step is git push. Git push. So what is git push? Git push command is used to upload your work from local repo to remote repository. Means now I have my all files and files, image and everything in my local repo, local system. Now I want to push here in GitHub. I want to push here in GitHub. So how can I push? So by writing command git push -u origin and master. Master means which branch. Mainly this is our by default branch. So master. So you can create a new branch also by git checkout and your branch name. So I will write git push -u origin master. Then see that what happens. Wait a minute. Now you can see that my my all files and folder is successfully uploaded in git bash. Successfully I will go back to GitHub and click refresh and change your branch to master. Then you can see that my index.html file is successfully installed. So you can this is our main is our by default branch, and master is our local by default branch. So you can create different branch also. So as I am working in master branch, So I will use master to upload to host in online. So here my git bash in git bash everything is complete. So I will go back to github and upload and host it in online. So I will go back to settings, then go to GitHub pages. You can see GitHub pages. Hello.
Yes, yeah, we can see it.
Yeah. Then you have to add your branches, which branch to be hosted. Then I will select master branch. Master means we are selecting master branch to host, and then I will then it will remain in root, and I will save this work. Then after 1 or 2 minutes, you can see that a link is generated. So if we click on that link, sorry, wait a minute, it will take 4
Bhaiya,
to
can
5
you please
minutes.
the bash window once?
What?
Can you please the bash window once?
Okay. Repeat. Hello?
The previous codes, Bhaiya.
Previous
Yes,
means
Bhaiya.
what? Means whatever I have written the commands, I have to repeat.
Yeah, after remote.
Okay, remote. Yes, git remote.
Yes, Bhaiya.
Git remote. So I will write a git remote. So what is git remote? Git remote will show that you are connected online or not. Online means that that I have successfully I have linked to my online repository. Means whatever we have in our local repository, I have connected to online or not. So git remote actually linked your local repository to remote repository. So if I write git remote add origin, then link, then this link, then if I write git remote then space dash b, then it will it can be visualized that there are two links, that I have successfully added two links. Then I next step is that git comment command. So what is git commit? So git commit command is used to save your changes to the local repository. Whatever we write in a single inverted comma, it can be visualized in GitHub as a heading. Now you can see that I have written that I will go back to the pages. Now you can say that whatever I have written in git commit command, that web builds is completed. So you can see that it is visualized here, web builds completed. So you have to simply write the git commit, then space -m, and your heading in single inverted comma. Then the next step is git push command. So what is git push? Git push command is used to upload your work from your local repository to remote repository. Means I have all files and folders here, but I want to upload all my files and folder in my GitHub account. Means in webbuilds.io, means this is my GitHub account. So I want to upload here. So I will write git push command. So to write git push command, I will simply write git space push space dash u space origin space master. So master is my branch name, means which branch I want to upload in GitHub. And after writing all this, then it will show that you have successfully uploaded all your work in GitHub.
Let me summarize let me summarize the things, like it's getting too messy. Like, let me summarize the things what he's trying to say. So basically, what was the idea that we started the session? The idea was to make a track our code. Basically, the idea was to track our code, right? So what was our target? To keep a history of our code, and to maintain it, like, so make the collaboration easier. There were multiple points that we discussed initially, right? So let me clear it out once, then we will move on to what I was to. So then I will sum up the things. Someone asked it, what is branch? So basically, what we do, branching is basically what it creates a different line, like independent line. For example, you are on a master branch, so consider master as a different folder on which you are working. And for example, you created another branch. You create another branch. For example, its name is it's XYZ, whatever its name is. So that's a different folder. It represents a different folder. So if you work in that different folder that I just named, for example, anything, let's name it branch for a second. So if you are working in that branch folder, so it will not affect your master branch. Fine. So that's you can consider, for example, for understanding purpose, you can think it of as two different folders. Like making changes in one branch doesn't affect the code in the other branch, right? You got my point. So that's what branching is, but it creates an independent line basically, right? So that's what branching means. So you can create different branches. And let me tell you a practical example, practical use of branching. For example, I told initially, I told you that you have a version 1.0.0, right? For this is the first version 1, right? You have completed your first version. Now you want to add some feature to your project. So for adding a feature, why would you want to spoil your code that is working perfectly fine, right? So what you can do, you can just create a sub branch out of that branch, right? Up to version 1, you can create a sub branch out of that, right? So you have that code up to version 1, and then you can work on that feature that you want to implement. You write code for that feature, you implement the feature, you test the feature that it is working properly or not. And then what you can do after working on it, after testing, you can simply just merge the two branches. Just bring the branch, take the branch that on which you are working, you are implementing the new feature, and merge it back into the master branch. So now your master branch is the initial code as well as the new feature that you just implemented. You got the point? You got the point what I'm trying to say, like what like how branching works?
Yes,
Yeah, someone respond. Yeah, so that's what I was trying to say. And to sum up the things that what he showed you in the terminal, so basically what get init does, the first command get init, what get init does, it just initializes the empty repository in your local system .git folder that was created. So it just tracks the repository in your local system, like. But till now you don't have any connection with the remote repository, that is the repository that you created in your GitHub account. You don't have any connection with that, you don't have any link with that repository. You don't have any connection between the two things, that the one is on a system and the other one is on your GitHub account, that repository. There's no connection between them, right? Git init doesn't do that. It just creates an empty repository in your system. So just a minute, hold on. It's an important call, I can't skip this. Yeah, so where were we? So I was summing up, like, so one was the git init command. So git init, they don't have any link between the two things, right? The remote repository and the local repository. So now when you type the after git remote -v command, so it tells you the remote repository related with that your local repository. So when he wrote the command, when he executed the command git remote -v, it just isn't like you didn't get anything in the response, right? Because it wasn't linked. So what you do to link it to the remote repository, to your local repository, to create a link between them, which command you can use? You can use git remote add, and in the last argument you just pass the link to that repository, right? So you just pass the link to that repository that he created. He just passed the link to that repository, and so now after that execution of that command, when you type git remote -v, so you just get the
two links there. The one was to fetch, one other was to push. So you know about the push. The push is for the uploading the code to the repository, and the fetch is basically to like pull the changes from the repository. Like for example, when you are collaborating, like he did some changes in the code, he pushed the changes. For example, take me. I'm also working on that project. I pushed some changes from my side to that repository, right? I can do that. So if I do that, so now he want to pull those changes in his local system. So what he can do, he can just pull those changes into his system, right? So that was fetch implies there. The fetch here shows the repository which is linked to fetch. So when we fetch from the repository, so the same repository, the code will be fetched, right? So that's what you got the point that you need to add the remote only once. Like if you want to go with a single repository, you just need to add the remote only once. That's not anything that you want to do again and again, right? Then what's the point? Like then we have certain files, we want to add those files to the staging area, right? So what we use git add. We just add the files whatever we want to, right? So after adding the files, we have certain commit messages. So like commit messages has their own importance, right? They have their own importance. For example, if you have written some code, then let me give you an example. For example, let's consider you are trying to implement a feature. Just take a simple example. You want to print something to the console, right? Simple. So like what do you do in C++? You just use cout, right? So for example, your new feature is just printing hello world in the console, right? This is your new feature. Okay. So now if you are done with writing the code of the printing hello world, cout hello world. So once you are done with this, what you would do, you will just commit those changes. You will just add that file. For example, the code that you have written is in the file index.cpp. So you just add the file git add index.cpp. After adding the file, you just we want to commit this, right? You use the command git commit and pass a message. So that message, what this commit message implies, that what were the changes that you done here. For example, consider a case you are looking at the code 3 years from now, right? You are looking at the code 3 years from now. Now you want to see where was the code that you written to print this thing. Now you want to track the thing that when you wrote the code to print something, the printing hello world, when you wrote this code. So now how are you going to track this thing? It's going to be really tough, right? So that's where commit messages come into picture. You can simply go to that commit messages where you wrote printing hello world to this feature, because I am considering this thing as a feature. Obviously he will implement a big feature. So this is just for example. So for example, you want to track when you implemented this feature, so you will just look for the commit messages where you wrote this. So you will just go to that commit messages, you will just go to that commit, and since we know that we can track the previous code in Git, that's what the Git provides us. That's what Git provides us. So you can just simply go back to that commit and you will get the code at that instance. The code, what was the code at that instance, and you can make the particular changes, or we can make the changes whatever you want to, right? So the importance of the commit messages is like it's really huge. You need to write some good commit messages. Like random commit messages do not work. When you will go into a company, you will write random commit messages. You will just your senior developer or the tech lead of the tech team, whatever it should be, he will be really angry if you write bad commit messages. It's good practice to write good commit messages. And it's good to write. Once you have implemented a feature, just add the code, just commit the code, so you can just backtrack the code just whenever you want to. So that's a good practice. So what you can do for now, you can do what I would suggest you. Just play around with these commands, right? Just play around with these commands. Make a new repository. Try to push the code that you have written in the last 2 sessions. Try to push the code into that repository. Try to make some changes and see what git status does, git add does. It go through some basic commands of it. Just Google something about it now, because now you have some idea that what actually git does and how to use the commands. So just go through the basic commands. Try to hit different commands. You will you might get some unexpected results, because these are unexpected for you because you don't know about this, right? It's not unexpected. It's actually what it should be. So you basically, I want you to explore these things, right? So just try to push the code of the last 2 sessions to that repository, and what you can do, if you guys want. So I think that there were many students today joining this session for Git, and there might be some doubts. So if you want that, if you think that you have some doubts, so if there are a certain number of people, then we can think of a doubt session if you want to. Like, it's completely up to you. If you want that you should have a doubt session, we will arrange it for you. Okay. Either way, we are going to have a session tomorrow. we will continue with some of the front end part, and then comes the back end part. This is the last. This will be the last session. Tomorrow will be the last session for the front end, and then we will start with the back end, and you will really see some cool stuff, right? I hope you like. You will like it. You are surely going to like this, the back end stuff. If you're a little bit interested in like creating websites or creating the server side, how server side works, how actually things goes in the back end, how the data comes to front end, how we see the data, how the authentication thing works, how you can make secure, how to log in, these login things that comes log out, this all comes under authentication, how these things work. So I think you really love to explore these things, right? Hello, are you there? Well, was a quite long lecture.
Yes, Bhaiya, but
Yes, Bhaiya.
So you got the point what I was trying to say in last 5 minutes, right?
Yes, Bhaiya.
yes,
Like, it wasn't a point, it was a collection of points, right? Okay, so what is GitHub Desktop? What is this GitHub Desktop? What is GitHub Desktop? GitHub is GitHub, bro. What's the difference between GitHub Desktop? I don't know. Maybe something kind of so that just you kind of, it's quite a kind of GUI, I think, as far as I remember. I haven't used it. I like the command line. Basically, why I use command line, because it's, don't you feel like you have certain power after using command line? Like, I really found it interesting when I used it for the first time, right? So you can use GitHub Desktop. It just provides a kind of GUI to you, right? So basically what you are looking on a website. So what is GitHub? When you open github.com, so whatever you see in your browser is kind of a software for that. It's a kind of an application. You can access all the things what website provides you. You can do all those things there. So is Linux better for development? Yes, sure. Yes, it is. It is better for development. So just don't get shifted to Linux just because just you are learning development. If you're really interested in development, then shift to Linux. And not only for development, I would say after shifting to Linux, I don't think that I am lacking something. I am lacking something. Like, almost I can do everything whatever I can do in Windows, right? Whatever you can do in Windows, you can do almost everything in Linux, except playing some, like, you might miss some games. Yeah, that's a drawback. Yeah, if you are like professional gamer or something, then Linux is not for you. Which OS for what? Yeah, so okay, Deepak, just tell me which OS for, I didn't get your question. One more thing, that what I was saying there, if you want to have a doubt session on Git, like if you do something, if you play around Git for today, so you can ask some doubts, so you can just simply put up your doubts in the group, right? So anyone can answer, anybody will answer there.
Excuse me, Bhaiya.
Yeah, Vinay.
Bhaiya, my VS Code has changed somewhat. Bhaiya, now it is showing that master has been added, and U and A different things are showing.
What are the different things? Like, how should I relate different?
Bhaiya, now source control is showing 2 pending changes. So shall I do something there?
Like, I need to see the code, bro. Actually, what's the actually? I need to see the code actually.
Shall I share screen?
No, actually, you can share the screen, but you can hold it for in the last. Like, other guys are there, so we'll just wrap up with the session. Then you can clear this thing in the last, right? At the last,
Okay.
so like others don't have to wait, right?
Yeah.
So anybody else having any doubts? So if not, so we will wrap up the session, and to next session, just little bit of front end more, then we will move on to back end. For back end, we are going to use Node.js. If you are a Python developer or something else, you can move or start with Django or other language. But for our session, we are going to use Node.js. If you know a little bit about, someone said that we should teach you about APIs. So yeah, you will get an idea about APIs, how APIs work. That's not a big deal. So we will start with Node.js. Not in the next session after this. We might have a little bit of introduction to backend in the next session, but first we will proceed with some front end part. Guys, Like you can tell anything. You can say anything. It's anything related to session. Anything else? Like, what do you think? Like, if you are facing any problem related to this, like how should I proceed or anything, you can ask. Otherwise, I think we are done with the most of the part. Like, we can wrap up.
Yes, Bhaiya, like I will wrap up with the last two slides.
Yeah, you can. Sure.
Okay.
So, Bhaiya, if I have any doubt, you can ask. And that's what the group is for, bro. You are supposed to ask doubts in the group. Like, we expect you to ask doubts in the group.
Yes, all
Right?
our expected juniors are expected to ask doubts. Like we are there
Okay.
for solving.
Command. Bhaiya, please show the code to fetch previous command. Fetch previous command. Oh, just press the up arrow. Like, as far as I am getting your question, it's just like what was the last executed command, right? You can just press the arrow keys, like up and down arrow keys to traverse those commands. This was the question, right, Sankit? No worries. Okay, Debajit, you continue with the presentation. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Sankit saying something?
No, Bhaiya.
Cool.
Okay, Bhaiya, is it visible, Bhaiya?
Yeah. Continue.
Okay, now that you have known a bit about Git and GitHub, now I would like to mention a few like do's and don'ts of GitHub, which you like. If you know it from starting, then like you will face less trouble. And starting with it, like commit early and often. Like Git only takes full responsibility for your data when you commit, right? So if you fail to commit and then do something poorly throughout, you can run into trouble. So additionally, having periodic checkpoint means that you can understand how you broke something. So I would suggest you to commit early and obviously commit often. Then issues are the primary mode of communication within the team. Like GitHub has this feature of creating issues. So you are like accepted to make an issue or something before changing any before like working on to an project, and always test the code before before sending a push request. Always test like if it's not working, then like it's not of no use sending a push request. And then choose a workflow and work according to it. Divide it among your teams, divide your work into repositories, and the dividing should be made perfect, else it might create some confusion. And lastly, comment out useful commit messages, as Samir Bhaiya already mentioned about it. So these were the few do's and don'ts. And lastly, I would like to say how to reduce merge conflicts. So first point I would say is fetch remote changes frequently to avoid big conflicts. Then have fewer developers working off the same branch. The front end, maybe you can classify it among this way, like the front end developers working on the same branch, and the back end developer working on the working on some other branch. And lastly, make a feature branch from dev and merge your issues code with it. Then pull and test before pushing the updated code to dev. So this will ensure that the code you push to dev are like working perfectly. So I would like to conclude, and let's say thank you. Let's end here. Anyone having any doubts can ask. Thank you.
If you guys want this presentation, like we will share this presentation if you want. So
yes, I will
like,
share in the group.
Yeah, we will share this presentation. There's nothing as such, but we'll share. Okay, guys, let's wrap up. Anything else off the topic, on the topic, something else? Otherwise, I think we are done.
Any feedback you all juniors want to give? Like,
yeah, you can always fill up the doc, right? You can always fill up the doc anonymously that we have already shared in the group, so you can always fill up the doc. There was something in the chat. Yes, Bhaiya. share the recorded lecture too. Sure. So this time I have recorded the video. I will surely share this. Cool. Like, seriously, I've shared this time. Okay. Anything else? Otherwise, I think we are done.